There comes a moment in every life when the old world becomes too small to hold the magnitude of who you are becoming. A moment when the familiar begins to dissolve, not because something is going wrong, but because something far greater is emerging. That moment is now. You are entering your next level, and everything in your life is shifting to prepare you for what you are meant to receive. Your next level is not something you chase, it is something you align with. It already exists as a living reality, a completed version of you waiting to be occupied. You don't walk toward your next level, you awaken into it. You step into the version of yourself who has already received the blessings you're asking for. And the moment you accept that version internally, the outer world bends to match it. Your imagination is not a place you escape to. It is the workshop where your future is crafted. Everything that will ever manifest in your life must first be claimed within. When you close your eyes and see yourself blessed, elevated, expanded, you are not pretending. You are touching the higher reality that longs to express itself through you. You are rehearsing the inevitable. Feel the truth of your desires. They are not random. They are not accidental. They are the echoes of what is already yours, trying to call you forward. A desire is evidence of possession. You cannot long for something that does not already exist for you in another state of consciousness. This is why your inner shift is the cause of every outer change. Nothing moves in your world until something moves within you. The moment you accept your next level in consciousness, not hope for it, not wait for it, not beg for it, but assume it, everything external begins rearranging itself to reflect that internal decision. Doors open that were once locked. People appear who were once absent. Opportunities approach that once seemed impossible. Nothing around you has changed. You changed, and your world is responding. Get ready to receive, because receiving is not an act of the hands, it is an act of the mind. To receive is to accept. To accept is to assume. To assume is to know it is already done. So let this be your turning point. Walk as the one who has already stepped into the promise. Breathe as the one who has already crossed the threshold. Think from the reality you desire, not about it. Feel the relief of having it. Feel the gratitude of possessing it. Feel the certainty of embodying it. Persistence is the bridge. When you return again and again to the inner knowing that your next level is already yours, the outer world has no choice but to yield. Reality is obedient to the one who knows where they stand, and you, right now, stand at the doorway of your expansion. Your next level is not coming. You are entering it. Get ready to receive, because the moment you choose it within, it becomes unavoidable without. Your next level is not something distant, separate, or hidden from you. It is not a prize you must chase, nor a blessing you must earn. It already exists as a completed version of your life, waiting for you to step into it. Before you even had the desire, the reality of its fulfillment was already prepared. You are not creating your next level. You are aligning with what has always been yours in a higher state of consciousness. When you feel a desire, you are not longing for something outside of yourself. You are remembering something that belongs to you in another dimension of awareness. Your next level is a state you awaken to, not a destination you struggle toward. It is like stepping into a room that has been fully furnished, beautifully arranged, and patiently waiting for your arrival. All you are doing now is opening the door. Everything you want exists in potential the moment you imagine it. The desire appears because the reality already exists. You cannot desire what is not possible, and you cannot envision what is not already prepared. So when your heart pulls toward expansion, increase, abundance, love, or transformation, it is simply recognizing what is already true for you. You are stepping into a version of yourself that has been living there all along. Your next level doesn't come from effort, it comes from identity. It unfolds when you choose to see yourself as the person who already possesses the things you seek. When you imagine yourself successful, favored, wealthy, loved, or transformed, you are not fabricating a fantasy. You are tuning into a higher frequency of your own being. You are adopting the inner state where everything you desire is normal and natural. The world you experience is always the shadow of who you are within. When you elevate your inner state, your outer world must rise to meet it. Your circumstances do not create your identity creates your circumstances. This is why your next level reveals itself the moment you decide to embody it, not when the outer world gives you permission. You do not wait for conditions to change. Conditions wait for you to change. Every limitation you've faced was only a reflection of an old state you no longer belong in. The struggles were not signs of failure, but signs of growth, showing you what you had outgrown. You were never stuck. You were being prepared. You were never denied. You were being aligned. Now the shift is happening within you. You are remembering your power. You are awakening to your true nature. You are recognizing that what you want is simply the next expression of who you already are. And because it exists now, not later, you can step into it now. Your next level is not ahead of you, it is within you. It is not waiting on time, it is waiting on acceptance. And the moment you claim it, internally, everything externally begins to rearrange itself to match your new state of being. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to the version of yourself who has always been destined to rise. Your imagination is not a place you escape to. It is the most powerful creative force you possess. It is the doorway through which every breakthrough enters your life. Nothing in your world can change until something shifts in the realm of imagination first. Every great transformation begins as an inner picture, a feeling, a thought, a quiet moment in which you dare to see life differently than it appears. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is the blueprint of your future reality. When you imagine a new life, you activate a higher version of yourself. You begin to operate from a state where your desires already exist. The images you hold within are not idle dreams. They are instructions you give to life. They are the seeds that grow into circumstances, opportunities, and outcomes. The mind does not differentiate between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. It reacts the same way. And because the mind shifts, your entire reality begins to reorganize around that shift. Every breakthrough you seek, whether in love, abundance, healing, success, or personal transformation, must first be accepted in imagination. If you cannot hold it within, you cannot experience it without. Imagination is your silent agreement with the life you desire. When you accept the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you signal that you are ready. You declare that you are no longer waiting for change, you are embodying it. The outer world is slow and dense, but imagination is immediate. The moment you imagine something with conviction, You enter into its state. You step into the version of yourself who already has the breakthrough. And once you occupy that inner state, life has no choice but to mirror it. The world is an obedient servant to your inner images. It does not argue, question, or resist. It simply reflects. This is why imagination must become your sanctuary, your workshop, and your point of creation. The more clearly you see the life you desire, the more naturally it manifests. When you imagine yourself confident, opportunities appear that match that confidence. When you imagine yourself loved, people show up who resonate with that love. When you imagine abundance, doors open that were once invisible. Imagination reveals pathways that hard effort alone could never uncover. Your breakthroughs are not earned through struggle. They are unlocked through alignment. Alignment with the imagery, the feeling, and the identity of the version of you was already broken through. To imagine is to choose. To choose is to shift states. And when you shift states, everything around you must shift as well. Imagination is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between the possible and the inevitable. It is the first cause of everything you will ever experience. When you honor your imagination, you honor your power. When you practice it daily, you train yourself to think from your desired reality instead of about it. And when you live in the state of your fulfilled desire long enough, the breakthrough must appear. Not because life finally allows it, but because you finally became the one who expects it. Assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled is the moment you decide within yourself that what you desire is already yours. It is not pretending, hoping, or trying to convince yourself. It is an inner acceptance, a quiet but powerful shift in identity, where you no longer look at your desire as something distant, but as something present. When you assume the feeling of having what you want, you step into the state where your desire is already a fact. And once you occupy that state, reality begins to reshape itself to match it. Everything in your world is a reflection of the state of consciousness you live in. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are changing the root cause. You are rewriting the inner story from which your outer life is projected. The moment you feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude, or the certainty of already having what you desire, your inner world shifts. And because your inner world is the source, your outer world must follow. This process does not require force or effort. It requires surrender, a willingness to let go of the old version of yourself who lacked, waited, or hoped, and step into the version who already receives. The more vividly you feel your desire as real, the more natural it becomes. You begin to think from the reality you want, rather than about it. Thinking about something keeps it in the future. Thinking from it makes it present. When you hold the inner feeling consistently, reality reorganizes in ways you could never strategize. People appear, opportunities unfold, obstacles dissolve, and synchronicities line up with precision. Nothing is accidental. Everything is responding to the state you have chosen. Reality bends to the one who has already claimed their desire within. Assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled is also the secret to dissolving doubt. When you feel the end result in your body and mind, there is no room for uncertainty. Doubt belongs to the version of you who has not yet received. But the version of you living in the fulfilled state knows it is done. This inner knowing becomes magnetic. It draws circumstances that match your conviction. You do not need to know how your desire will manifest. The how is the job of the unseen, not your responsibility. Your only task is to remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to return to it again and again whenever your mind wanders. This persistence is not struggle, it is alignment. It is choosing the end result until it becomes your natural resting place, and then, almost effortlessly, life begins to shift. What once seemed out of reach becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes obvious. You begin to act, speak, and think like the version of you who already has what you desire, and because you have changed, your world must change. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Live in the state of completion. Let the inner acceptance become stronger than any outer appearance. When you do, reality will reshape around you, not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with what has always been yours. Your inner shift is the true cause of everything you experience in your outer world. Every circumstance, every opportunity, every challenge, and every blessing is shaped by the state of consciousness you consistently occupy. The world around you is not creating your emotions. Your emotions, assumptions, and beliefs are creating the world around you. What you hold within becomes the script that life must act out. When you finally understand this, you stop trying to fix the outer and learn to transform the inner, because you realize the outer is only an echo. Nothing in your external world has independent power. It cannot move, change, or rearrange itself until you shift the internal state that is generating it. The moment you change your inner assumptions, your reality begins to reorganize without resistance. It listens to your state, not your words, not your wishes, not even your efforts. You can work endlessly in the outer world, but if the inner state remains the same, the results will remain unchanged. Likewise, the moment you shift within, life moves with remarkable speed, often in ways that feel miraculous. Your inner world is the cause because it is the origin point of your reactions, your expectations, your choices, and the lens through which you interpret everything. When you change the lens, you change the world you see. A person who believes they are supported by life will experience support. A person who believes they are overlooked will encounter situations that confirm it. Life simply mirrors back the assumptions you have accepted as true. This is why inner shifts are so powerful. When you decide that you are worthy, life begins to reflect opportunities that match your worthiness. When you decide that abundance is natural for you, avenues of increase begin to appear. When you decide that love is your birthright, relationships transform. The outer world bends to the identity you choose within. Everything starts with who you assume yourself to be. This shift is not about positive thinking. It is about changing your inner state of being. It is about stepping into a new identity and living from that place until the world has no choice but to conform. You don't need to wait for signs. The inner shift is the sign. The moment you feel differently, think differently, and assume differently, you have already initiated the outer transformation. The world responds to your dominant state, not your fleeting emotions. A moment of doubt does not undo you. What matters is the state you return to, the state you live in, the state you embody. When your inner world becomes rooted in confidence, peace, abundance, or fulfillment, your outer world must reflect those qualities in experiences, events, and people. Trying to change the outer world without changing the inner is like trying to alter your reflection in a mirror without touching your face. It cannot be done. But when you shift inwardly, the outer responds effortlessly. It is law It is natural. It is inevitable. What you are ready to receive has been waiting for your permission long before you ever realized it. Life does not withhold anything from you. Every desire, every opportunity, every blessing exists in potential the moment you feel the longing for it. But potential does not become reality until you allow it. Your permission is the energetic doorway through which your desires enter your world. Without that inner yes, without that acceptance, the things meant for you remain suspended in possibility, waiting for you to claim them. You are not waiting for life. Life is waiting for you. Waiting for you to say, I am ready, waiting for you to believe you are worthy, waiting for you to occupy the version of yourself who can hold the blessings you seek. Nothing you desire is outside your reach. It is only outside your willingness to receive. The moment you give permission, internally and energetically, you open the channel through which everything aligns. Permission is not spoken, it is felt. It is not forced, it is surrendered. Permission is the moment you stop resisting your own greatness, stop shrinking your vision, stop questioning your potential. It is the moment you choose to step into the identity that matches the life you want. When you allow yourself to desire boldly and accept wholeheartedly, you signal to life that you are prepared to receive. Many people wait for perfect conditions before giving themselves permission to receive. But perfect conditions never come first. Inner permission comes first, and conditions follow. You give yourself permission to be wealthy before wealth arrives. You give yourself permission to be loved before love shows up. You give yourself permission to succeed before success becomes visible. Life expands according to the permission you give it. Your desires are not random. They are invitations. They are signals from a higher version of yourself calling you into expansion. Every time you feel the pull to grow, improve, rise, or evolve, it is because something is ready to manifest through you. But it cannot enter your life while you are clinging to doubt, fear, or hesitation. When you withhold permission, you unconsciously block the very things that are meant for you. When you finally say yes, truly, deeply, internally, you will notice how quickly things begin to shift. Conversations unfold that you could not have orchestrated. Opportunities appear with perfect timing. Resources become available. People show up to support your path. Everything begins to cooperate with your desire because you have aligned with it. You have opened the door. Permission is a declaration. I allow myself to receive what is already mine. I release the past versions of me that felt unworthy. I welcome the expansion that life has prepared. Once you give that inner yes, everything changes. Life bends to your acceptance. The blessings that waited silently begin to move. What felt delayed suddenly becomes immediate. What felt distant becomes close. What felt impossible becomes inevitable. Your readiness is the signal. Your acceptance is the key. Your permission is the command. And everything you seek has been waiting for it. Persistence in your inner knowing is the force that turns every locked door in the outer world into an open pathway. The world may present obstacles, delays, or appearances of resistance, but none of these hold real power when you remain loyal to the inner truth of who you are and what you have already claimed within. Outer obstacles are temporary illusions. Inner knowing is the permanent reality. The moment you decide that your desire is already fulfilled in consciousness, your only task is to persist in that state until the outer world aligns. Persistence is not fighting, forcing, or struggling. It is simply returning again and again to the inner conviction that your desire is already yours. It is choosing the end result in your imagination even when the physical world shows something different. It is holding the inner picture with calm certainty, refusing to be moved by appearances. When you persist in your chosen state, you elevate yourself above circumstances instead of allowing circumstances to dictate your state. Every locked door in your outer world represents a belief you have already outgrown. When you shift your inner assumptions and persist in them, the door cannot remain closed. It must open, because the outer world cannot contradict the state you have fully embodied. It may take time for physical reality to reorganize, but the process begins the moment you persist in your inner knowing. What appears to be delay is simply the world catching up to the shift that has already taken place within you. Persistence strengthens your identity. It teaches you to trust your inner vision more than the temporary outer noise. When you persist, you are saying, "My inner world is the cause. My outer world is the effect. Therefore, I choose to remain faithful to my inner truth." This unwavering loyalty to your own consciousness makes you unshakable. Challenges lose their power. Doubt dissolves. Fear fades. You become rooted in the certainty that what you have assumed is already done. This persistence does not require force. It requires consistency. A few moments each day of entering the state of your fulfilled desire can shift your entire world. When you repeatedly return to the feeling of having what you want, the mind begins to accept it as fact. And once the mind accepts something as real, the outer world begins to reflect it as your lived experience. Locked doors open in unexpected ways. Situations shift effortlessly. Opportunities appear where none existed before. People who once seemed indifferent become supportive. Circumstances that seemed rigid become flexible. Reality bends not because you pushed harder, but because you persisted longer in your inner conviction. When you persist in the knowing that your desire is fulfilled, you transcend doubt, you transcend fear, you transcend the old version of yourself that accepted limitations. You rise into the identity that matches the life you are choosing. And once that identity becomes your home, every locked door becomes a doorway, every barrier becomes a bridge, and every obstacle becomes evidence that your manifestation is on its way. Persistence in your inner knowing is the silent power that shapes your world. It proves that nothing external has authority over you. It confirms that your inner state is the master key, and with it no door can remain closed. The truth is simple. Everything you seek is already alive within you. Your next level is not arriving. You are rising into it. Your imagination has already carved the path. Your assumptions have already shaped the outcomes. Your inner shift has already rearranged the world around you. And every desire you hold is patiently waiting for your permission to unfold. The doors that once locked will open the moment you persist in the knowing that they were never locked to begin with. You are stepping into a new reality, a higher version of yourself, a life that matches the greatness you've carried within all along. Walk with certainty, walk with faith, walk as the one who already possesses every blessing they seek. Your new life is not coming. It is unfolding through you right now. Thank you for listening, and thank you for allowing this message to awaken the power already within you. There comes a time when the universe begins to rearrange itself on your behalf. You may not see it with your physical eyes yet, but deep within you can feel it. Something has changed. The air feels different. The energy feels alive. The tides of your reality are turning, and everything that once seemed stuck is beginning to move again. You are standing on the edge of transformation. The invisible is becoming visible. The thoughts you have held, the visions you have nourished, the prayers you whispered when no one was listening, they have been heard. And now, everything is about to shift in your favor. But the question is, are you ready? Readiness is not about doing more. It's about being more. It's about embodying the energy of what you have asked for before it appears. You cannot meet your new reality with the same old state of mind. You must rise in consciousness before life rises to meet you. Every change begins within. The outer world only echoes what you have accepted within yourself. When you shift your awareness from lack to fulfillment, from waiting to receiving, reality must obey. This is not chance. It is law. There is a silent moment before manifestation, a sacred pause where faith is tested. Many give up there, mistaking silence for absence. But silence is not absence. It is preparation. The seed germinates in stillness before it breaks through the soil. So does every answered prayer. You may not see it yet, but the energy has already moved. Doors that were once closed are about to open. Paths that were hidden are about to reveal themselves. People who carry your blessings are being guided toward you right now. The shift is not coming. It has already begun. Be ready by believing. Be ready by knowing. Be ready by refusing to doubt the unseen. Because what is yours is already established, not in time, but in consciousness. And once your awareness aligns with that truth, time will bend to deliver it into your hands. Do not let fear interrupt what faith has already completed. Do not let the illusion of delay convince you that nothing is happening. The universe is meticulous. It never forgets what you've imagined with feeling. So stand tall, stand certain, stand still, in knowing that everything is unfolding for your highest good. The shift is real and it is working in your favor. Life is not against you, it's rearranging itself for you. Be ready now, because the blessing is closer than it appears. There is a divine orchestration happening beyond what the eyes can see. While your outer circumstances may appear still, lifeless, or even resistant, there is a silent movement occurring beneath the surface, a rearranging of invisible threads that are weaving your desires into reality. The invisible world is not a void. It is alive with creative intelligence, responding to every vibration you emit, every belief you hold, every feeling you sustain. The universe does not operate through chaos. It operates through perfect law. And that law is constantly matching your inner state with outer experiences. When you hold a vibration of faith, gratitude, and expectation, the unseen forces of life begin to respond with precision. The right people start to think of you. Opportunities begin to align in perfect timing. Circumstances that once seemed random now reveal themselves as purposeful steps leading you forward. You are never being ignored. You are being prepared. Even in moments where nothing seems to move, everything is actually shifting behind the scenes to bring you what you've already claimed in consciousness. But this invisible rearrangement cannot be forced. It is not about doing more, it is about allowing more. When you trust the unseen, you step out of fear and into flow. You stop chasing and start magnetizing. The universe mirrors your inner frequency, not your effort or struggle. This is why two people can do the same thing. One struggles endlessly, while the other moves with grace, because one is aligned internally and the other is not. Your alignment is the invitation for the invisible to reveal itself as visible. The moment you change how you feel about your life, life begins to change to reflect that feeling. The shift happens first within. Every new reality starts as an inner conviction, a quiet knowing that what you have asked for is already on its way. When you maintain that knowing despite appearances, the invisible begins to rearrange matter, people, and timing to fulfill your belief. This is why patience is not passive, it is powerful. True patience is unwavering confidence in unseen activity. Imagine a seed buried in the soil. To the eye, nothing seems to be happening, yet beneath the surface, the soil is alive with movement, roots forming, life expanding, structure building. If you were to dig it up too soon, you would interrupt the process. The same is true for your manifestations. The invisible world is nurturing your desires, aligning conditions, and growing your vision. The delay is never denial. It is divine timing orchestrating perfection. So when you feel nothing is working, remember everything is working. When you see no evidence, remember evidence is forming. When you feel forgotten, remember the universe never forgets. An intention that was felt deeply and believed completely. Hold your vibration steady. Continue to imagine the outcome as already fulfilled. Trust that the unseen is your ally, not your enemy. For the invisible is not indifferent, it is intentional. It is rearranging itself right now in your favor. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of the inner world you inhabit. Every experience, every encounter, every circumstance is a mirror showing you the vibration you most consistently hold within. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. The world you see is a projection of your inner state, shaped by your assumptions, beliefs, and emotions. When your inner state is one of peace, confidence, and worthiness, your external reality naturally begins to organize itself in harmony with that energy. But when your inner state is filled with doubt, fear, or lack, life mirrors that back with obstacles, delays, and uncertainty. This is not punishment, it is precision. The universe simply echoes the frequency you broadcast. If you want the reflection to change, you must first adjust the image you project. Most people spend their lives trying to fix the mirror, not realizing that the source of their reflection lies within. You cannot fight circumstances into submission, but you can transform them by shifting your inner perception. The moment you change how you see yourself, everything that surrounds you begins to rearrange to match your new identity. When you hold an image of yourself as powerful, loved, capable, and abundant, life rises to confirm it. New opportunities appear, people treat you differently, doors open that were once locked. It is not that the world suddenly becomes kinder, it's that your new state of being calls forth a new version of the world. Everything around you bends to the vibration you sustain. This is the secret of transformation. The outer follows the inner. If you see yourself as lacking, the world reflects lack. If you see yourself as blessed, the world confirms that blessing. This truth is simple yet profound. Nothing can appear in your experience that you have not first accepted within. Your inner conversation, the thoughts you silently repeat about who you are, form the foundation of your reality. Change those inner words, and your outer life must obey. This is why awareness is everything. Before reacting to a situation, pause and ask yourself, what state of being am I occupying right now? The situation is not asking for more action. It is asking for a higher state. When you elevate your state, when you move from fear to faith, from doubt to certainty, from desperation to calm knowing, the very energy of life rearranges itself to match that vibration. People are drawn to your peace. Solutions appear effortlessly. What once felt heavy becomes light. Light. The truth is that you are never waiting for life to change. Life is waiting for you to change your inner stance. The mirror cannot show you a new image until you become it. Every great shift begins not in effort, but in awareness. You are the center of creation, the projector through which reality is expressed. When you command your inner world through faith, vision, and calm conviction, the outer world has no choice but to yield. Reality is obedient to your state. Always. Readiness is the invisible signal that tells the universe you are serious about receiving. It is not about waiting for evidence, but about living from the end, feeling, thinking, and acting as if what you desire is already yours. The universe does not deliver blessings to those who are still doubting their worthiness or questioning their power. It delivers to those who are already standing in the vibration of having it. When you are ready in consciousness, creation must respond. Because readiness is magnetic, it draws to you the experiences that match your inner assumption. Most people delay their own manifestations by waiting for signs before they believe. They say, I'll feel grateful when it happens, or I'll believe when I see proof. But that mindset keeps the blessing suspended because the vibration of waiting is the vibration of lack. You are declaring, without realizing it, that you do not yet have what you seek. And the universe mirrors that declaration faithfully. The truth is the opposite. You must first believe before you see. You must first become before you receive. To be ready is to live mentally and emotionally in the reality of your wish fulfilled. It is to walk, talk, and think from the version of yourself who already possesses the thing you've asked for. When you do this sincerely, not as a performance, but as an inner knowing, life begins to reorganize itself to meet you there. Opportunities align, timing synchronizes, and everything that once seemed distant begins to move closer. Readiness activates movement. It opens the invisible pathways that carry your desire from thought to manifestation. Ask yourself, if what I wanted were already mine, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I carry myself? Then begin to live from that awareness. Do not wait for the external world to justify your belief. The justification is already within you. The universe reads energy, not words. It does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your state. When your inner world vibrates with fulfillment, when you hold the energy of completion rather than longing, your manifestation becomes inevitable. Being ready also means letting go of the old version of you, the one who needed proof, the one who feared disappointment, the one who believed they had to earn what was already theirs by divine right. You cannot step into the new while clinging to the old identity. The shift happens the moment you assume the feeling of the fulfilled desire. That assumption is not pretense, it is creation in motion. So stop waiting and start embodying. Begin living now as if your desire has already arrived. Dress for it, prepare for it, speak to yourself from that state. Let every action, every thought, every emotion declare, I am ready. The universe moves swiftly for the one who is prepared. Life cannot resist readiness because readiness is faith made visible. When you are ready before it arrives, it no longer needs to arrive. It is already here. Faith is the unseen bridge that connects the invisible with the visible, the desire with its fulfillment, the prayer with its answer. It is not born from external proof, but from an inner conviction that what you have imagined already exists in a higher realm of reality, waiting only for your acceptance. Faith is the quiet certainty that refuses to be shaken by appearances. It is the still voice within that whispers, it is done, even when nothing around you seems to confirm it. Many confuse faith with hope, but they are not the same. Hope looks forward to a future possibility. Faith stands firmly in a present knowing. Hope says, I wish it will happen. Faith declares it already has. The moment you move from hoping to knowing, the bridge is formed. You cross from the realm of desire into the realm of realization. Faith does not beg or plead, it calmly assumes that the invisible is working perfectly on your behalf. True faith begins when logic ends. It thrives in uncertainty because it understands that the unseen is more powerful than the seen. It is the surrender of control, not to weakness, but to wisdom. When you live by faith, you stop asking, when will it happen, and start affirming, it is happening now. You no longer chase signs, you become the sign. You embody the energy of completion before any evidence arrives. And because consciousness precedes creation, life must eventually mirror that inner knowing. Faith is not passive. It is the most active force in creation. It shapes your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your expectations. It makes you walk differently, speak differently, and think differently. When you have faith, you no longer vibrate in the energy of waiting, you vibrate in the energy of having. You live from the end, and that state magnetizes everything required for its expression. Every person, opportunity, and event begins to align to fulfill your conviction. There will be moments when doubt whispers, when appearances seem to contradict your belief. That is where faith proves its strength. It stands still while the storm rages. It does not react, it remains rooted in knowing. Faith is not built when everything looks easy. It is built when everything looks impossible, yet you choose to believe anyway. That unwavering certainty is what bends reality. When you truly believe, your heart becomes peaceful. The struggle ends, because you know creation is complete. You no longer question if it will happen. You rest in the awareness that it already has. And that time is simply catching up to your consciousness. That is the sacred mystery. The unseen becomes seen when faith has done its work. Faith is not a bridge you build once. It is one you walk daily. Each thought of trust strengthens it, and every doubt weakens it. The more you affirm your unseen truth, the more solid that bridge becomes. And one day, without force or effort, you find yourself standing on the other side in the reality you once only imagined, realizing it was faith that carried you there all along. Delay is never a sign of denial. It is a divine pause designed to prepare you for what you've asked for. The universe never withholds what is meant for you. It simply aligns it perfectly with the moment you are truly ready to receive. What feels like waiting is often the unseen work of transformation, both within and around you. While you're focused on timing, life is focused on alignment. The delay is not punishment, it is protection. It ensures that when your manifestation arrives, you have the strength, wisdom, and clarity to hold it. Every pause has purpose. It refines your faith, stretches your patience, and reveals whether your desire is rooted in truth or desperation. The waiting season is not empty, it's sacred ground where your consciousness evolves. It is where belief matures from hope into knowing. Without delay, there would be no depth, no grounding, no wisdom to sustain the blessing. What you call delay, the universe calls development. The dream is being polished in the unseen before it becomes visible. During these quiet seasons, you are not being ignored, you are being instructed. Life is teaching you how to align your vibration with what you've imagined. Every challenge you face, every unanswered prayer, every seeming setback is sculpting your character into the perfect container for your desire. If the manifestation arrived too soon, it would slip through your fingers, because your inner world would not yet be able to sustain it. The delay ensures that your inner foundation is strong enough to carry the weight of what's coming. The waiting refines you. It burns away doubt and replaces it with confidence. It removes dependency on external validation and anchors you in inner knowing. It teaches you to trust the process without needing to see results. The delay is where you learn that manifestation is not about rushing, it's about readiness. When you finally realize that nothing is truly missing, that you are complete even before the desire appears, the universe responds immediately. For you have finally become the version of yourself who is equal to the vision you hold. Sometimes what looks like nothing is happening is actually everything happening. Energy is being rearranged, people are being positioned, opportunities are being prepared. You can't see the orchestration, but it's happening in perfect sequence. What feels like stillness is simply synchronization. The universe is never late, it is exact. So when the waiting feels long, shift your focus from frustration to faith. Instead of asking, why hasn't it happened yet? Ask, what is this season shaping within me? Because the truth is, the delay was never working against you, it was working for you. It was aligning timing, building strength, and expanding your capacity to receive. And when the manifestation finally arrives, you will look back and understand the delay was not a detour, it was the bridge. Everything you learned in waiting was the preparation that made the blessing possible. What once felt like postponement was divine precision. The delay was never denial, it was destiny unfolding in perfect order. Anxiety is the energy of separation. Alignment is the energy of union. When you are anxious, you are living in the vibration of absence, believing what you desire is distant, uncertain, or beyond reach. But when you align, you step into the vibration of presence, the quiet knowing that what you've asked for already exists and is already yours in the unseen. The shift from anxiety to alignment is the moment you stop chasing and start allowing. It is the instant you realize that creation doesn't happen through effort. It happens through resonance. Your only real task in this life is alignment, to bring your inner state into harmony with the outcome you desire. You don't have to figure out the details, force the timing, or control how it unfolds. You only need to occupy the state of being that matches what you wish to experience. Feel now what you imagine you'll feel then, and the universe will bridge the gap between the two. That is the secret of effortless manifestation. Anxiety says it's not here yet. Alignment says it's already done. Anxiety doubts the process. Alignment trusts it. Anxiety looks for signs. Alignment becomes the sign. Every time you choose faith over fear, calm over worry, gratitude over impatience, you step closer to your desire. Not because the outer world suddenly shifts, but because you shift and the outer world mirrors you. Alignment is not pretending or forcing positivity. It's about finding peace in knowing that life is always responding to your inner energy. It's realizing that when you feel whole, complete, and fulfilled, you naturally attract experiences that reflect that state. What you are seeking is already seeking you, but it can only find you when your vibration matches its frequency. That match is made not through striving, but through surrender, through the gentle release of control and the confident embrace of trust. The shift happens quietly. It's not dramatic or loud. One day you simply stop worrying and everything begins to flow. Doors open effortlessly. Conversations happen by chance. Opportunities appear without struggle. This is not coincidence. It's alignment doing its work. When you stop resisting, you create space for the universe to move. The energy that was once tangled in fear becomes available for creation. The truth is that anxiety blocks what alignment allows. When you are anxious, you are sending mixed signals, asking for abundance while vibrating lack, asking for love while vibrating fear. But when you are aligned, your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs speak one language. It is already mine. That unified signal commands the universe to respond immediately. So step out of anxiety and into alignment. Breathe, release, and trust that what is meant for you is already on its way. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Feel the fulfillment before it arrives. Walk with the confidence of completion. The moment your inner world becomes a match to your desire, the shift is complete. Quietly, instantly, and irrevocably. Everything in your life is moving toward alignment, even when it feels uncertain. The invisible is working in your favor, shaping events, people, and opportunities to mirror your new state of being. You are not waiting for a miracle, you are becoming the miracle through your consciousness. The shift is not ahead of you, it is within you. Every change in thought, every moment of faith, every feeling of gratitude moves you closer to the reality you've already claimed. You are not being tested, you are being transformed. The waiting, the stillness, the silence, they were never punishments, but invitations to rise higher in awareness. Everything that once seemed delayed was only preparing you for what is already yours by divine design. Now, as you stand on the edge of manifestation, let go of worry and embrace readiness. Trust that life knows exactly what it's doing. So take a deep breath and stand firm in knowing everything is about to shift in your favor. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Your faith has already opened the way, and the unseen has already begun to take form. All that's left is for you to believe it, feel it, and receive it. Thank you for listening. And remember, The power is not out there. It has always been within you. Everything you seek is already seeking you. Be still, be ready, and watch the universe move in your favor. Life is always speaking, always responding, always shaping itself according to the state you occupy. Even when nothing appears to be happening, even when the outer world seems unchanged, something profound is aligning beneath the surface. Everything is coming together in ways you cannot yet see, and your only task is to stay ready, inwardly, mentally, spiritually. Readiness is not about striving, it is not about forcing or chasing. It is about assuming the end so fully that you no longer doubt its approach. When an outcome becomes natural in your imagination, life bends around that inner certainty. You begin to walk differently, think differently, and carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the promise is already fulfilled. That inner shift is the true beginning of every blessing. Many people wait for signs before they believe, but the one who understands the laws of consciousness knows signs appear after belief. The seed works underground before it breaks the soil. Your desire is no different. Its roots are forming in hidden places. Every coincidence, every delay, every closed door, every unexpected moment is orchestrating your good with precision. What looks like stillness is divine coordination. The universe does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your inner acceptance. The moment you say within yourself, "This is mine," the unseen activity begins. People move, situations shift, conversations take place without your awareness. Entire paths are rearranged just to bring you what you have already accepted as true. And while that is happening, your readiness becomes your greatest contribution. Staying ready means living as if the breakthrough is inevitable. It means refusing to entertain thoughts that contradict your desire. It means preparing the inner atmosphere so your blessing has a place to land. When you mentally dwell in the fulfillment, you magnetize the physical experience toward you, and the physical experience goes with you. Do not be fooled by outer appearances. Life is always slowest right before it changes. Nights are darkest before dawn, seeds are quiet before sprouting, and your dreams often feel most distant right before they manifest. This is the moment to remain steady. Hold the end. Walk in the feeling. Trust the invisible process that is unfolding for you. Everything truly is coming together, perfectly, precisely, and in a way that will make you grateful for every step of the journey. So remain expectant, remain grounded, remain ready, because what belongs to you is making its way toward you. And the moment your inner state becomes a match, it will appear effortlessly in your world. Your inner state is the cause. Life rearranges itself to match your assumption. Everything you experience on the outside is a reflection of what you have accepted on the inside. Most people try to change their life by wrestling with circumstances, by fighting conditions, by pushing against what they do not want. But the real transformation begins not with effort, but with inner alignment. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your assumptions form the blueprint from which your reality is constructed. When you shift the inner state, the outer world must follow. Every assumption you hold carries a creative power. It may be subtle, it may be invisible, it may feel insignificant, but it shapes the path you walk. If you assume lack, life mirrors lack. If you assume delay, life offers delay. If you assume that things never work out for you, the world arranges itself to validate that belief. But the moment you assume abundance, favor, and the inevitability of good things, the world reorganizes itself to support that truth. Life is incredibly obedient to the state you dwell in. This is why inner work is not optional, it is foundational. You can take all the actions in the world, but if they are rooted in fear, doubt, or desperation, they will produce more of the same. Action cannot override assumption. It can only express it. But when your assumption is one of confidence, certainty, and fulfilled desire, even simple actions carry extraordinary results. Everything becomes amplified because your inner reality is aligned with the outcome you seek. The world you experience is not random. It is not chaotic. It is an ordered reflection of your dominant inner state. If you want to know what you have been assuming, simply look at what keeps appearing in your life. Patterns are just assumptions repeating themselves in physical form. And the moment you change the assumption, the pattern must break. You do not have to beg, force, or struggle. The state you occupy becomes the silent magnet that pulls matching experiences toward you. When you assume something with conviction, you begin to think in alignment with it. You begin to feel the emotions that belong to that reality. You begin to move through the world differently. People respond to you differently. Opportunities reveal themselves. Pathways open. Life bends around your internal decision as if it has no choice, because it doesn't. Consciousness is the only cause. An assumption is the only method by which you set consciousness in motion. This truth is liberating because it means you are never a victim of circumstance. You are never powerless. You are never at the mercy of the world. You are shaping it from within at every moment. Change your state, and the world must change with it. It cannot resist the command of your inner reality. When you choose your assumption deliberately, when you hold it, feel it, and live from it, everything around you rearranges itself to match the truth you have claimed as your own. What you prepare for reveals what you believe is on its way. Life always responds to your inner expectation, and preparation is the outward expression of that expectation. The things you choose to focus on, the steps you take, the time you devote, and the energy you invest are all reflections of what you truly accept as possible. Most people prepare unconsciously, often driven by fear, doubt, or the habits of the past. They react to circumstances rather than assume the future they desire. But those who consciously prepare do so in alignment with what they already know will come. And in doing so, they signal to themselves and the universe that the outcome is inevitable. Preparation is not about forcing the future, it is about demonstrating inner acceptance. When you act as if the result is certain, your mind, body, and environment begin to align to that reality. Every action you take becomes infused with the energy of certainty. Your thoughts become clear, your focus sharp, and your decisions guided by an unseen intelligence that knows the end is already fulfilled. In this way, preparation is a sacred bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is proof of faith in action, a tangible acknowledgement that what you desire is already on its way. What you prepare for also reveals the quality of your belief. If you prepare with hesitation, half-hearted effort, or constant worry, it shows that your assumption is weak. You may wish for abundance, success, or love, but your preparation exposes the limits of what you truly believe. Conversely, when you prepare with full expectation, you show an unshakable trust in the outcome. You act as if the end has already arrived. You organize your resources, sharpen your skills, and cultivate the environment that will support your desire. This is not striving. This is alignment. It is a demonstration of the inner reality you have assumed, a proof that your consciousness has already claimed the result. Even the smallest preparations carry immense significance. Writing down plans, creating routines, visualizing steps, or organizing your surroundings. All of these actions are signals to your subconscious that the desired outcome is not a distant possibility, but an immediate reality. The universe always mirrors this readiness. Opportunities begin to appear. People show up at the right moment. Circumstances bend in your favor. Preparation, when done from the state of already having, acts as a magnet, drawing the unseen forces into the physical world to support your assumption. What you prepare for is a direct reflection of your belief. It reveals the inner state that governs your outer experience. The outer world cannot contradict what your consciousness has accepted. It will respond to the blueprint you have created internally. Therefore, preparation is not just a practical step. It is a spiritual declaration. It is a statement of faith, a proclamation that you already occupy the reality you desire, and that the world must arrange itself to match the conviction you have expressed. Through preparation, you reveal, strengthen, and solidify the reality that is already coming to meet you. Alignment always precedes manifestation, and understanding this principle is the key to effortless creation. Nothing in the outer world can appear until it has first been established within. Every accomplishment, every blessing, every change in your life begins as an inner state before it becomes an external reality. The person who achieves, receives, or manifests is not merely taking action in the physical world. They are first existing as the person who has already received. The alignment of your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and expectations forms the invisible foundation upon which the physical outcome is built. Without this alignment, effort alone will always fall short, no matter how much energy or time is invested. To align with what you desire means to inhabit the consciousness of already having it. It is not wishing, hoping, or striving. It is living in the awareness of fulfillment. When you mentally and emotionally occupy the state of the end, your actions, reactions, and choices naturally flow from that reality. You carry yourself differently, speak differently, and think differently. Every decision is informed by the assumption that what you desire is not in the future, it is your present. This is the subtle but powerful secret. Your outer life is a reflection of the inner state you maintain. When your inner reality is complete, the outer reality must conform. Many people try to manifest through effort alone. They chase, negotiate, and struggle, believing that external work is what produces results. Yet, without inner alignment, these efforts are often scattered and ineffective. The universe cannot contradict your dominant state of consciousness. If doubt, fear, or scarcity dominate your mind, the outer world mirrors these conditions. Conversely, when you fully embody the version of yourself that has already received, the outer world cannot help but follow suit. Circumstances, people, and events begin to arrange themselves in perfect harmony with your inner reality. Opportunities appear effortlessly, doors open, and synchronicities multiply, all because you have become the person who naturally attracts that reality. Becoming the version of you who already has it is not a temporary exercise. It is a sustained inner commitment. It requires attention, practice, and faith. Every thought, feeling, and perception must be aligned with the truth of fulfillment. You must refuse to entertain the reality of lack or limitation. You must cultivate the emotions, the confidence, and the perspective of someone who is already living the life you desire. In doing so, you are not creating from nothing. You are unveiling what already exists in the unseen, allowing it to manifest in the tangible world. Alignment is the precursor to manifestation because the universe responds to consciousness, not to effort alone. When you live as the person who has already received, you become a beacon that draws your desires into form. This is why the wise focus first on inner transformation, knowing that every external expression is born of inner state. To manifest effortlessly, to create with certainty, you must first align fully with the reality you wish to see. Embody it, feel it, live it, and the universe will move to make it visible. Delays are not denials, they are adjustments, preparing the perfect moment. One of the greatest misunderstandings in life is believing that when something we desire does not appear immediately, it has been withheld from us. In reality, the universe is always orchestrating events with precision, timing, and intelligence beyond our comprehension. What may feel like a setback, a pause, or an obstacle is often the silent work of forces arranging circumstances to ensure that the manifestation of your desire occurs in its most perfect form. Delay is not opposition, it is preparation. When you trust in the unseen and recognize the wisdom behind timing, you begin to see delays differently. They are not signs of failure, they are proof that the desired outcome is being meticulously aligned. The outer world often moves slower than the mind expects, but this slowness is never wasted. Every delay allows for the subtle adjustments, the unseen refinements, and the unfolding of conditions that must be in place for the manifestation to be complete. Life is always moving toward your good, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Each pause, each moment of waiting, is an opportunity to strengthen your alignment, clarify your vision, and refine your inner state. Delays serve another purpose. They reveal the depth of your belief. When desires do not manifest immediately, your faith and assumptions are tested. If you become impatient, doubtful, or fearful, you are unconsciously signaling that you are not yet in alignment with the reality you seek. On the other hand, when you remain calm, confident, and expectant, you demonstrate inner readiness. This readiness is the magnet that draws the circumstances into harmony with your desire. The universe does not respond to time, it responds to the state you occupy. Patience is not passive, it is active faith in the unseen process. An acknowledgement that what you desire is already on its way and will appear at precisely the right moment. Every delay also allows for better preparation on a practical level. Opportunities, people, and resources often emerge gradually, and their timing must align with your readiness to receive. Sometimes, an early manifestation may not have yielded the best outcome or the highest benefit. Delays ensure that the conditions are perfect, that the timing is ideal, and that the experience itself is maximized for your growth, joy, and satisfaction. In this way, what seems like waiting is actually the invisible hand of intelligence, shaping the circumstances for the most extraordinary result. Understanding that delays are not denials transforms your perspective. You begin to trust the process, embrace the pause, and align your thoughts and emotions with the inevitability of fulfillment. Every moment of apparent waiting becomes a chance to deepen your inner state, strengthen your assumptions, and live in the certainty of what is already yours. The universe never hurries, yet nothing is ever lost. The delay is always purposeful, always strategic, and always leading to the perfect moment when your desire will appear fully and flawlessly. Patience and readiness are your allies. Trust and alignment are your guides. When you embrace this truth, you realize that delay is not a wall to stop you, but a bridge preparing the way for your ultimate victory. The unseen is more powerful than the seen. And trusting what you have accepted within is the secret to true creation. Everything that exists in the physical world first originates in the invisible realm. Thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, and imaginings are the unseen forces that shape reality, long before they appear as tangible outcomes. Yet, most people place their faith in the external world, believing that what they see is the ultimate truth. This is why so many struggle, for the visible world is merely a reflection of the invisible, not the source of creation. To master life, you must learn to trust what has already taken root in your imagination and inner consciousness. When you accept a desire as fulfilled within, it is already operating in the realm of the unseen. Your belief, your feeling, and your assumption are like seeds planted in fertile soil. The growth is invisible at first, yet inevitable. It is not necessary to see immediate evidence because the unseen is far more potent than any visible circumstance. The moment you feel, believe, and assume something as true, the laws of life respond. Your inner acceptance sets into motion the chain of events that will inevitably bring your desire into the external world. What you hold within is stronger than any obstacle, limitation, or doubt that appears on the outside. Trusting the unseen requires a deep inner conviction. It requires living from a state of completion rather than lack. When you accept that what you desire already exists within your consciousness, you no longer rely on outside confirmation. You no longer chase after signs, explanations, or guarantees. The unseen operates with perfect precision, and it always fulfills the inner assumption. Patience, faith, and alignment are the instruments through which this power manifests. By trusting what you have accepted internally, you allow the unseen forces to work unhindered, to orchestrate circumstances, guide people, and arrange events in perfect harmony with your inner reality. The visible world often appears unpredictable, chaotic, or contradictory, and this can tempt you to doubt the power of the unseen. But appearances are deceptive. Outer conditions are temporary and mutable, constantly shifting like clouds in the sky. The inner state, once firmly assumed, is constant and unshakable. It acts as a magnetic field, drawing to you the people, opportunities, and experiences that correspond to your acceptance. The unseen does not move at the pace of the world, it moves at the pace of belief. It is silent, unseen, yet infinitely more potent than any external circumstance. By trusting what you have accepted within, you step into the true creative role in your life. You become the architect of your reality, no longer a passive observer or victim of conditions. You understand that every outer event is a reflection of your inner state, and that by mastering the unseen, you master the seen. Every assumption you hold, every feeling you nurture, and every inner conviction you embrace sets into motion a force that shapes the physical world. The unseen is the blueprint, the invisible hand guiding reality. Trust it, live from it, and you will witness the miraculous power of life, responding to the truth you have claimed within yourself. When everything looks still, the shift is happening behind the scenes. Stay ready. Life has a way of moving in silence long before anything becomes visible. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean progress is not unfolding. The greatest changes often occur in phases that feel quiet, slow, or uneventful. These moments test your patience, your faith, and your ability to maintain the inner state of already having what you desire. But beneath the surface, beyond your senses, forces are rearranging circumstances to align in your favor. The stillness is deceptive. It is the space where the invisible becomes inevitable. Every meaningful transformation begins in the unseen. Think of a seed buried in the soil. For a long time, nothing appears to be happening. No sprouts, no leaves, no signs of growth. Yet inside that seed, life is forming. Roots are extending and structure is developing. If you judge the process by appearances, you would believe nothing was working. But nature operates in hidden ways, and so does your destiny. When nothing is moving externally, everything is preparing internally. Life is creating openings, merging paths, shifting people, and aligning opportunities. What feels like stagnation is actually divine preparation. This stillness requires a particular kind of readiness, not anxious readiness, not frantic preparation, but calm expectation. It is the readiness of someone who knows the promise is maturing invisibly, the readiness of someone who understands that silence is not abandonment, but orchestration. When you remain ready during these quiet phases, you keep your inner state aligned with the outcome. You do not collapse into doubt or impatience. You do not let circumstances dictate your belief. Instead, you hold the feeling of fulfillment, trusting that the unseen is working more powerfully than the seen. Staying ready also means maintaining the mental environment where your desire can manifest. It means refusing to contradict your vision with thoughts of lack, delay, or impossibility. It means responding to the stillness with faith rather than fear. When you stay ready, you prepare your inner and outer world for what is coming. You sharpen your mindset, strengthen your conviction, and embody the version of yourself who already has the blessing. You become a match to the manifestation long before it arrives, ensuring that when it comes, you are prepared to receive it fully. The truth is, life rarely announces when a breakthrough is approaching. It often comes disguised in silence. The shift happens backstage, hidden from view until suddenly everything unfolds at once. Doors open, opportunities appear, and what once felt delayed arrives with astonishing speed. But this rapid manifestation is always preceded by a period of quiet internal realignment. If you mistake that silence for failure, you interrupt the process. But if you honor the stillness, you accelerate the unfolding. So stay ready, stay centered, stay aligned. Trust the hidden movements that are shaping your future. When everything looks still, remember that the shift is already happening behind the scenes. Life is rearranging itself to meet the truth you have accepted within. Your readiness is your signal to the universe. I am prepared. I am aligned. I am expecting the best. And when you hold that state, the breakthrough becomes unavoidable. In conclusion, everything you desire is already aligning in the unseen, quietly arranging itself to match the state you occupy within. Your inner assumptions, your preparations, your alignment, your patience, and your trust are the forces that shape reality even before it becomes visible. Delays are not denials. The unseen is more powerful than the seen, and readiness is your key to receiving. When you live from the feeling of fulfillment, when you embody the version of yourself who already has what you seek, the universe cannot help but respond. Life is always working in your favor, even when it appears still, and the moment of your manifestation is closer than you realize. Thank you for taking this time to listen, reflect, and align yourself with the truth of your own power. Stay ready, stay faithful, and watch as everything comes together for you. My friends, there are moments in life when it feels as though everything has come to a standstill, when the doors seem locked, when prayers seem unanswered, and when time itself feels heavy with delay. But I tell you, nothing is still. Beneath the surface of what you call reality, an unseen hand is moving every piece, arranging every circumstance, aligning every person, and orchestrating every detail for your favor. You may not see it yet, but divine order never sleeps. The invisible intelligence that formed the stars, that whispered light into the darkness, is now working for you. Every disappointment, every detour, every silence, it was never rejection, but redirection. When you begin to believe that life is for you and not against you, something shifts. The same world, once filled with obstacles, becomes a field of divine cooperation. What looked like endings begin to reveal themselves as beginnings in disguise. The truth is, your outer world can only reflect the inner world you occupy. When you live in expectation of favor, when you feel within that things are turning for your good, the universe must echo that conviction. Everything rearranges itself to mirror your inner assumption. Do not look to appearances for confirmation. Appearances are old echoes of your former beliefs. Look instead to the unseen, to the conviction within your heart. Hold to it, rest in it. Know that God is working through it. Your breakthrough is not a future event. It begins in the moment you shift your awareness. As soon as you claim, things are moving in my favor, they are. It may not be visible at first, but the seed of transformation has been planted and it cannot return void. So expect big changes, expect sudden movement, expect favor in places you least imagined. Expect the phone call, the opportunity, the open door. For God is moving everything in divine rhythm, and that rhythm is carrying you into fulfillment. Stop worrying about how it will happen. Your part is belief. God's part is performance. And He has never failed in His role. When you rest in the assurance that all things are working together for your good, you become an instrument of divine flow. The world bends to your conviction. People show up, paths clear, miracles unfold. Hold this truth. Everything is being moved in your favor. You are being guided, positioned, and prepared for something far greater than you can now imagine. So stand still in faith. Live from the end, not toward it. See yourself already in possession of the promise, already living the answered prayer. And as surely as dawn follows night, your outer world will reveal what your inner world has already accepted. Yes, God is moving everything in your favor. Yes, big changes are coming. And yes, they are already on their way to you. There are seasons in life when it seems as though everything has gone still, when your prayers echo back in silence, when the plans you carefully made crumble, and when each day feels like a repetition of waiting. Yet beneath that stillness, something sacred is unfolding. The unseen world is not inactive, it is alive with divine motion, silently rearranging itself to fulfill the conviction you hold within. Life is never idle. What appears to be stagnation is, in truth, divine orchestration in progress. When you understand this, frustration gives way to faith. The moment you imagine something with feeling, you set in motion an unseen current. Every assumption, every belief, every conviction is like a seed planted in the soil of the invisible. It does not spring up overnight, yet its roots begin to move through the unseen layers of reality, seeking the right moment to emerge. You do not have to force it, chase it, or beg for it. You need only remain faithful to your inner vision, trusting that the unseen rearrangement is already at work on your behalf. The outer world is slow to catch up because it is only an echo of the invisible pattern already formed in consciousness. When you change the pattern within, life must, by divine law, rearrange itself to mirror that change. This is not magic, it is order. The events that unfold, the people you meet, the opportunities that seem to suddenly appear are not coincidences. They are the visible expressions of what has already shifted within you. The world bends to the strength of your assumption, not the weakness of your doubt. Think of the silence between the planting of a seed and its sprouting. Nothing appears to happen, yet everything essential is taking place beneath the surface. The soil must soften, the roots must find water, the seed must break open before life can emerge. The same is true for your desires. The waiting season is never wasted. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. Life is aligning people, timing, and circumstance to deliver the fulfillment of what you have already accepted in your heart. The unseen rearrangement is subtle but exact. It knows no confusion, no mistakes, no missed opportunities. Even the detours, the disappointments, the closed doors are part of its precision. What leaves your life makes space for what belongs. What falls apart allows what is divinely ordained to take form. If only you could see the invisible threads being woven on your behalf, you would never doubt again. So when nothing seems to move, remember, everything is moving. When nothing changes, everything is changing. When it feels as though you have been forgotten, know that the universe is working overtime in your favor. Rest in that assurance. Trust the unseen. Hold fast to your conviction. Because the moment you believed, life began its quiet rearrangement to fulfill it. And when the time is ripe, what was once invisible will stand before you, tangible and complete, as proof that the unseen world was faithful all along. Faith does not live in the realm of what can be seen, touched, or measured. It lives in the invisible, in that sacred space between knowing and seeing. True faith begins exactly at the point where the evidence of your senses ends. When logic fails to explain how things could ever change, and yet something deep within you whispers, it already has. This is the moment when faith is born, not as a blind hope, but as an inner certainty that transcends appearances. Your senses will always report to you the current state of the visible world. What is, not what is becoming. They are faithful servants, but poor masters. If you live by them alone, you remain imprisoned by what already exists. But when you choose to believe in what your heart knows, even when your eyes cannot yet see it, you align yourself with the creative power that governs all life. Faith does not wait for evidence. There is a subtle but profound shift that happens when you stop asking, when will it happen, and begin to feel it is happening now. The world outside may still look the same, but inside you, a spiritual law has been activated. The moment you assume the reality of your desire, not as a wish, but as a fact, the unseen begins to rearrange itself to reflect that inner truth. The evidence will come, but only after the belief. This is the test of faith, to stand firm when nothing supports your vision, when everything contradicts it. It is easy to believe when doors open, when prayers are answered, when signs appear. But true faith shines brightest in silence, in the space where you must hold the unseen as real, even when the world laughs, even when your circumstances insist otherwise. To the doubting mind, this may look like foolishness, but to the awakened heart, it is divine wisdom in motion. Your heart is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It knows before the mind understands. It senses the completion of a thing before the outer form catches up. When you listen to that inner knowing and dwell in the feeling of already having what you desire, you rise above appearances. You begin to live from the end, not toward it. And from that state, all things begin to align in perfect order. The mistake most people make is waiting for proof before believing. But faith is the reverse. It is belief that becomes proof. Every miracle, every breakthrough, every answered prayer begins as a conviction held in the unseen. You do not need to know how or when. You need only to know that it is. So close your eyes to appearances and open them inwardly. Let your heart declare the truth, even when your senses deny it. For what is real within must one day become real without. That is the law. That is faith beyond evidence, the quiet power that transforms the invisible into the inevitable. Imagination is not mere fantasy, nor is it idle daydreaming. It is the divine workshop of creation, the sacred womb from which every visible thing is born. Everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every work of art, every movement in human history began first as an image in someone's mind. The outer world is nothing more than the visible reflection of the inner one. Whatever you inwardly accept as real, whatever you emotionally claim as true, must, by the unfailing law of consciousness, take form in your outer experience. The imagination is not limited to the creative artist or the visionary. It belongs to everyone. It is your direct link to the infinite. When you close your eyes and see with the eye of the spirit, you enter the realm where all possibilities already exist. In that inner world, nothing is denied to you. The only limits are the ones you impose through doubt, fear, or disbelief. If you can imagine it vividly and feel it deeply, it is already taking shape in the unseen. To imagine is to create. When you imagine something and accept it as real, not as something to come, but as something that is, you impress that image upon the deeper layers of your consciousness. That impression becomes a command to the universe, a pattern to which reality must conform. Life has no choice but to mirror what you inwardly assume. The world around you bends to the quality of your imagination just as surely as water takes the shape of its container. Most people use their imagination against themselves. They rehearse fear, lack, and limitation in their minds and then wonder why life reflects those very conditions. But imagination is impartial. It brings forth whatever it is given. You cannot plant seeds of doubt and expect a harvest of peace. You cannot imagine failure and live in victory. The outer world will always yield the fruit of the inner image. To change your life, you must change your inner pictures. Begin to live in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. See yourself as already possessing what you long for. Speak and act from that state. The moment you do, the creative power within begins to rearrange everything necessary for that vision to appear. You may not see it at first, but the process has begun. The world will quietly shift to match the new pattern you have accepted. Imagination is God's gift, the means by which you participate in creation itself. When you dare to imagine the highest for yourself and others, you align with divine order. You stop reacting to the world and begin shaping it from within. So guard your imagination. Feed it only with the images of love, abundance, success, and peace. What you hold within, you will hold without. Remember always, your imagination is not a place to escape reality. It is the place where reality begins. There comes a moment in every journey when it feels as though nothing is happening, when prayers seem unanswered, doors remain closed, and progress appears to have stopped. It is in those quiet, uncertain seasons that frustration often whispers, "Why is this taking so long?" But delay is never denial. What you call waiting is in truth divine preparation. Life is arranging itself perfectly, aligning every detail, every person, and every circumstance to fulfill what you have already asked for. The universe does not rush because it is never late. Divine timing operates with precision, guided by wisdom that sees far beyond your limited perspective. You may want something immediately, but what you desire must be supported by who you are becoming. Sometimes the blessing cannot arrive until you are ready to hold it, protect it, and sustain it. The waiting period is the sacred interval in which you are being shaped, strengthened, and expanded to match the magnitude of what is coming. Think of the farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up the next day to check its progress. He trusts the process. He knows that beneath the soil, hidden from sight, the miracle is already unfolding. So it is with your life. Beneath the surface of what you can see, forces are moving, connections are forming, opportunities are maturing, and pathways are opening. The silence is not evidence of absence. It is the womb of manifestation. When you understand this, patience becomes peace. You no longer fight against the flow of time, you rest in it. You begin to see delays not as obstacles, but as orchestration. Every seeming setback becomes a setup. Every closed door redirects you towards something greater. Every pause is filled with purpose. The divine is never withholding good from you. It is perfecting it for you. Often, what we interpret as divine silence is actually divine precision. The right person may not yet be in position. The right opportunity may still be forming. The right timing may not have arrived. If the door opened too soon, you might enter unprepared. But when everything aligns, when your inner readiness meets divine timing, what once seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly. Trust the unseen alignment. The waiting time is a sacred space where your faith is tested, your character refined, and your trust deepened. It is in this space that you learn to depend not on outer signs, but on inner knowing. That quiet assurance that everything is unfolding for your highest good. So do not resent the waiting. Embrace it as divine preparation. Use it to grow, to refine your vision, to strengthen your belief. Rest in the certainty that nothing is being withheld from you. Everything is on schedule, perfectly timed according to divine wisdom. When the moment is right, it will happen so swiftly, so gracefully, that you will realize it was never a delay, It was a perfect unfolding, waiting for you to be ready to receive. You are not separate from divine favor. You are its vessel. The same life that animates the stars flows through you, expressing itself as thought, belief, and imagination. Favor is not something that comes from outside to touch a chosen few. It moves through consciousness, responding to what you accept as true about yourself. What you believe, you magnetize. What you expect, you invite. Life mirrors not your desires alone, but your convictions. God's favor is ever present, infinite, and impartial. It does not choose one over another. It flows wherever it finds belief. It is like electricity, available to all, but only those who connect to it receive its power. Your faith, your expectation, and your inner dialogue are the wires through which divine energy flows. If you live in the awareness that life is for you, that good is always moving toward you, that everything is working in your favor, then that becomes your lived experience. But if you hold in consciousness the belief that you are unlucky, forgotten, or unworthy, you block the current of divine flow. Everything begins within. The world you see is the mirror of your own awareness. To live as the vessel of favor, you must first recognize that you already carry it. You are the channel through which blessings enter the world. The more you believe this truth, the more freely the divine can move through you, guiding your steps, aligning opportunities, and bringing the right people into your path. When you walk in the awareness of divine favor, you stop competing, striving, and forcing outcomes. You rest in trust. You understand that what is meant for you cannot be taken, and what passes you by was never yours to begin with. This awareness creates an atmosphere around you, a magnetic field of peace, confidence, and gratitude. People feel it, opportunities respond to it, and life bends to it. The key is not to chase favor, but to embody it. Begin each day with the quiet assurance that divine love goes before you, making the crooked paths straight. See yourself surrounded by light, guided by wisdom, supported by grace. Speak to yourself with kindness. Expect good. When you carry this inner state, the outer world rearranges itself accordingly. Things begin to work out by coincidence. Doors open without effort. Help appears at the right moment. What others call luck, you will recognize as alignment. Even in difficulty, favor remains. Challenges are not signs of abandonment, but invitations to rise higher in consciousness. To prove the truth that God's favor never leaves you. The more you affirm it in the face of appearances, the stronger it grows within you. You are not trying to attract favor, you are revealing it. It has always been yours. The moment you believe that you are the chosen vessel of divine flow, life responds. Everything you need, guidance, provision, opportunity, will find its way to you, drawn by the magnetic power of your belief. There comes a moment when everything changes, not because the outer world suddenly rearranges, but because something deep within you does. That moment is the instant you assume with conviction the feeling of your fulfilled desire. It is not wishful thinking or forced optimism. It is an inner shift of identity. You stop hoping and start knowing. You no longer look for the change, you become it. From that moment forward, the universe, in its infinite intelligence, begins to conspire for your breakthrough. The sudden shift is never random. It happens the moment your inner state aligns with your desired reality. For weeks, months, or even years, it may seem as if nothing is moving, yet in a single instant of realization, everything begins to accelerate. Life responds to states of being, not words alone. When you feel yourself to be what you desire to be, you vibrate in harmony with that reality, and by law, it must appear. The outer world has no choice but to reflect the new state you have assumed. This is why imagination and feeling are the tools of transformation. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to claim it inwardly before it takes shape outwardly. It is a declaration to the universe that the matter is settled. You no longer question when or how, you rest in the assurance that it already is. And that inner rest triggers movement in the unseen. Opportunities arise, ideas flow, coincidences appear, and people are drawn into your path to fulfill what your consciousness has accepted. The sudden shift is often quiet. It doesn't always announce itself with thunder or signs. Sometimes it feels like a deep peace, a calm knowing that something has changed, even though nothing outside has yet moved. But that peace is the seed of transformation. It is the point at which destiny begins to unfold. The shift within is the cause. The outer manifestation is the inevitable effect. Many live their lives waiting for circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel fulfilled. But the law is reversed. The feeling must come first. You cannot wait to be joyful until you see results. You must feel the joy now, and the results will mirror. You cannot wait to feel loved until love appears. You must feel love now, and love will find you. The universe mirrors your inner assumption, not your outer need. When the shift happens within, do not doubt it. Even if nothing visible confirms it yet, trust that the unseen forces are already in motion. Life begins to reorganize itself with precision and speed once consciousness has made the claim. So expect the sudden shift. Expect the doors that were closed to open easily. Expect opportunities to appear where none existed. Expect divine favor to move swiftly in your direction. When you live from the feeling of the fulfilled desire, you are no longer chasing change, you are magnetizing it. The moment you believe it's done, the universe rushes to prove you right. Every truth shared today leads to one simple yet powerful realization. God is always moving in your favor, even when you can't see it, even when nothing seems to change. The unseen world is alive with divine motion. Every delay is preparation, every setback is alignment, and every closed door is a redirection towards something greater. You are not waiting for favor to find you. You are already the vessel through which it flows. The moment you dare to believe, to imagine, and to feel the fulfillment within, life begins to shift. Circumstances bend, opportunities unfold, and what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. So hold your vision with faith beyond evidence. Walk with quiet confidence that the universe is working on your behalf. Expect the sudden shift. Expect doors to open, relationships to align, and miracles to manifest. The moment you assume your desire as already real, the world begins to conspire for your good. Remember, divine timing is never delay. It is perfect orchestration. Every part of your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust it, rest in it, and know that you are being carried toward something extraordinary. Thank you for sharing this sacred space, for listening with your heart, and for choosing to believe in the unseen. May you walk forward with renewed faith, expanded vision, and unwavering peace, knowing that everything, absolutely everything, is moving in your favor. Thank you. And may your next season be filled with divine surprises and endless grace.